The Ascension Summit 2017. Your all-day access to meet international speakers, authors, and coaches. 20 experts, three continents. 2 days. 2 days with one goal: elevate your life. Welcome to the Ascension Summit with your host, E.R Spaulding.
Hi and welcome. My name is E.R Spaulding and I am the founder of the Ascension Summit 2017 and your Chief Integration Strategist as an evolving leader. One of the things that we were tasked with doing, with putting this summit together, was to make sure that we address the entire person called you. We have 8 major life areas that we look at on a consistent basis to ensure that as an evolving leader who is moving out there, creating and making an impact on and for the world, that we are taking care of the very thing that needs to carry us there: our mind, our body, our spirit, our finances, our love life, our friends and family, the fun and rejuvenation that we need to have, in addition to the work that we do each and every day. And so our next digital presenter is Tiffany Loya Fenton. And she is an individual that really can talk in any one of these categories because she is a supreme adversity coach. And where does adversity show up? Just about in every major area of our life. So let's hear a little bit about Tiffany and why she is exactly the person that can support you if you're facing some type of adversity. So Tiffany Fenton was born the youngest of 4 sisters in Sturgeon Falls, Ontario, and worked many years as a teacher. She is a mother and a loving wife, and despite tremendous trials and tribulations, some of which are absolutely horrifying, she was able to conquer many of those challenges that she faced from a very young age. Her story will leave you angry, heartbroken, inspired, cheering, and forever changed as you follow her from an abusive childhood, a battle with cancer, an ill child, and other traumatic and heart-wrenching life events to a successful and rewarding life as an entrepreneur, a coach, a philanthropist, and an author. She is the creator of the program, The Hero Within, which she has carefully designed to help others transform the way they perceive and deal with challenges. Her goal in life, despite her recent diagnosis of a brain tumor and rare illness, is to touch as many lives as possible and to help thousands of people achieve their dreams and have a tomorrow. So I don't want to delay this any further because she is such a rare jewel that will support in creating the paradigm shifts that each and every one of us need in order to deal more effectively with adversity. Tiffany Loya Fenton.
Hello and welcome. I hope you're enjoying this incredibly fantastic day. My name is Tiffany Loya Fenton, and I'm an adversity coach. I'm originally from Canada, but for the past 5 years, my husband and I and our children have been living out our dreams here in beautiful Costa Rica. But of course, life isn't without its adversities, its challenges. Just like everybody else, I've been through my fair share. But the people that I work with and the people that I help, they often say to me that it couldn't have come at a worse time, and that they certainly weren't expecting it. Funny how adversity does that, right? Shows up when you're least expect it. But see, I believe that it shows up for a reason, especially those adversities that show up when you're already going through something else. You know, those people who say it couldn't possibly get much worse, and then it does. But I believe that if you're going through something, you have to be able to truly go through it. Learn from it. What's its lesson? Find the key to the answer on how to overcome it. But so many people just get frustrated or they get sad, or they get depressed or angry, and they simply don't know how to go through it. And then the second adversity shows up. And I believe that that second adversity is to remind you to go through it, to find the answer. See, the second adversity gives you the key to overcome the first one. But if you don't go through it, guess what happens? Another one shows up, and suddenly you're faced with the third adversity, and so on and so on. So instead of complaining, instead of asking, why me? Instead of saying that this was the worst time, what is it trying to teach you? What is it trying to give you? See, I believe that if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. And depending on how you go through adversity, depending on how you overcome it, determines whether or not that change is a positive one. So I developed a program called The Hero Within. How to go from powerless to powerful. So I could help these people, give them a step by step on how to overcome adversity. And today, I'd like to share with you how to do that, how to find your hero within. And we're going to focus on our mindset, understanding how our brain works, but more importantly, being able to change it, being in control of not only your mindset, but the way that your brain accepts something. But before we start, I'd like to share with you why and how I created the Hero Within program. See, a while back, I was talking to a friend, and she was telling me about how crazy of a day she had, how stressful she was. Because on her way to work that day, her car broke down. So she had to wait for a tow truck, and by the time they got there and she got to work, she was over an hour late. And how after work she had to go and get her car, which put her on the highway late, so she was stuck in traffic. So by the time she got home and did dinner and got the kids ready, she was just so far behind. She was so stressed out. She even said to me that if she had another day like that again tomorrow, she'd have a mental breakdown. And meanwhile, inside, I'm just praying that I have a tomorrow. And then a few days later, I was speaking to another friend, and she called me to tell me how she didn't know how she was going to get through her day. Because her husband woke up sick that day, and she had to take him to the doctor, and she had a doctor's appointment. Then she had to go and get a massage. Then she had to get her mom and bring her to the passport office. And later that night, she was having dinner with friends, and she didn't even know she'd going to be able to take a shower before she went. And that she was so stressed out, she was thinking of how she could change one thing to another and reschedule this and reschedule that, and she hated days like this. And meanwhile, inside, I'm just praying I can survive, that I can live. And so I started thinking to myself, why are we different? Not that I was judging, but why are we different? Why is it that if that were me, that I would be celebrating and excited at the fact that I got to work 1 hour less that day? And that if I was stuck in traffic, that time given to me that I don't normally ever have, how I would be thinking of something creative and exciting that I could do with my kids or my husband that night. And how if I had dinner with friends that, my day was filled with taking care of my sick husband and that, and although I'd be concerned about him, I'd be so looking forward to that dinner that surely I could be a couple minutes late so I could have a shower. Because see, 3 months prior to these conversations, I almost died. And although I sit before you today diagnosed with an extremely rare illness, an inoperable brain tumor, and I live with a minimum of 14 symptoms, I reacted differently than they did. Why? So why were we different? And again, not judging, but because every single person goes through stress. We just handle it differently. So why is it that I handled it much differently than they did? And so I started thinking, and it brought me to a point when somebody said to me once, Tiffany, you go through things better than most people. You handle things better than most people. And it took me back to a time when I was 16. See, my entire childhood, I was abused in every way possible. So by the time I was 13, I turned to street drugs. And so at the age of 16, I decided to date the dealer because I thought life would be much easier that way. So months into our relationship, we decided to throw a party. There wasn't a lot of people at this party, but the party wasn't just to have a party, but the party was as a welcoming to this new boy. This boy who had befriended us months prior. He had always talked about all the parties he went to and the things he had done and the things that he saw and that he was 17 and went to the French high school. And so this party was a way of, as a welcoming, telling him that we trusted him. So he ordered like everybody else, and it came time for the party, and we gave him everything he ordered, and then some. As a, we trust you, welcome to the group. And he took it all, just as we did, and we thought, wow, this boy is cool. But we quickly realized that everything he ever told us was a lie. We almost killed this 12-year-old boy by accidental overdose. My boyfriend, well, he went to jail and I got off lucky, and I knew I had to stop doing drugs, and so I did, but I was in a very, very bad place, a dark place. And so over the next few days, all I thought about were all of the ways that I could take my own life. And so one morning I came down the stairs with my backpack on my shoulder and I have my hair in a ponytail, and I'm ready for school. And as I hit the bottom stair, my stepfather grabs me and pushes me against the wall and rips the ponytail out of my hair, because apparently ponytails mean that you sleep around. And as I was trying to process that, he put his finger to my forehead and said, "You're worthless. In fact, a dirty used cigarette butt on the ground has more value than you." And he turned around and he walked away. And so I went to the kitchen and I grabbed the knife and I put it in my backpack and I put my backpack on and I went out the door. And for the first time, I wasn't crying. I wasn't angry. I wasn't upset. For the first time, I was okay. Because I finally agreed with him. I agreed with everything he ever told me. I agreed that everything that I went through was my fault. So I walked to school that day instead of taking the bus, because whether I was going to be on time for class or not didn't matter, because I wasn't going. If you think back to your high school and the washrooms, typically in the female washrooms, it was just full of glass mirrors. And so there I stood, with blood flowing over my palms, and it was peaceful. And I thought for the first time in my life, I won. But then all of a sudden, all these people started rushing in and talking to me in the ambulance, and they're bandaging me, and they're asking me questions, and it was all such a blur, and next thing I know, my mom is there, and it's like a whirlwind. All these people are talking, and they're saying things, and they're making appointments, and there's people in this corner, and doctors over here, and my mom, and I can't hear a word. I can't really make out anything they're saying, and everybody's trying to make heads or tails of this, and I'm just sitting there staring at my bandages and thinking to myself, what am I going to do? And then I heard this voice. Amongst all of these voices in this chaos, I heard this voice that said, "Tiffany, you do have value." This voice reminded me that I had dreams. It told me that I was put on this earth to do something great, and I was still going to do it. It made me believe in myself, and I realized very quickly that voice was coming from within. So I was very young at the time, so I didn't know it, but I know that was the first time that I ever heard or felt my hero within. And so I changed. I decided that from that day forward, I would smile
and mean it. I would laugh and feel it, so I needed a lot of help. So the next day I was sitting in the psychiatrist's office and I was going through everything with him. And he said, "Wow, Tiffany, I can't believe how well you're taking this. You go through things much better than most." And I realized that what made me different than most people, what differentiated me from my friends, was that I had my hero within.
So let's understand the negativity and our mindset. Why do insults once hurled at us stick inside our skulls sometimes for decades? Why do traumatic images of something we've seen stick with us sometimes forever? When you're driving down the highway and you see a car accident, for example, the few seconds that you got a glimpse of it, you can recall everything about it. You can recall every dent, whether it was right side up, upside down, what color it was, if the windows were smashed in, exactly what you saw, if there was a tree involved, another vehicle. But yet, a vehicle who is passing you on the highway with nothing wrong, nothing traumatic, you can't even tell us the color. Why is this? Well, the answer is easy. It's that we have to understand that humans are wired for bad news, that negativity just makes a bigger impact on our brains. And that is due to what we call the negativity bias. The brain reacts more strongly to stimuli it deems negative. There's a greater surge in electrical activity. Thus, our attitudes are more heavily influenced by downbeat news than good news. But before we get into how to change our negativity bias, let's make sure we understand the definition of negative. See, the definition of negative is expressing or containing negation or denial, refusing consent as to a proposal, expressing refusal to do something prohibitory as a command or order, lacking positive attributes, lacking in things like optimism, encouraging or noting an unhealthy or unbalanced outlook towards something. Negativity is also a negative statement or an answer, a word, a gesture. It's a refusal. It's a negative quality or characteristic, a disadvantage or a drawback. It is also used to indicate a negative response, to deny something, to contradict, to refute or disprove something, to refuse assent or consent to veto, to neutralize or counteract. The definition of negative is also used to indicate disagreement, denial of, or permission, or in the negative in the form of a negative response as a refusal, denial, or disagreement, or a simple no. Unfortunately, if you're seeing what I'm seeing, negativity, negative things show up in every aspect of our lives. Everything we see, hear, smell, even if it just tastes bad, if it's negative, it invokes a less than desirable feeling or thought. It affects us. In fact, studies show that a good day has no lasting effect on the following day, yet typically a bad day carries over. That we process negative data faster and more thoroughly than positive, and that they affect us longer. Socially, we invest more in avoiding a bad reputation than in building a good one. And emotionally, we go to greater lengths to avoid a bad mood than to experience a good one. Did you know that it takes 12 whole seconds for negativity to travel from the temporary to the long-term memory? 12 seconds! In fact, for every negative that we enter into our brains, we output 3 negative reactions. They can be a physical response, a thought, or a combination of, but for every one, 3 negative reactions occur. And research has told us that in order to have a somewhat of a good life, that for every negative that gets inputted into our brain, we need 5 positives, a 5-to-1 ratio just to have a good life. So if something negative happens to you, you need to counterbalance that with 5 positives. But what that tells me is that it's not our adversities that define us. It's how we handle them. But the other side of that is that we also speak negativity. And every time we hear ourselves speak with this negativity, that is entering into our brains. And therefore, we also need 5 positives. So if we want to be able to change our mindsets and rewire our brains, we need to realize and know the triggering words. So these are a list of the negative words most often used. There are thousands and thousands. Become aware of which ones you speak. Words like ashamed, confused, forced, lied, punished, violated, powerless, afraid, abused, terrified, unsafe, scared. What words are you using in your everyday vocabulary? In fact, scientists say that we use some form of negativity or have a negative thought, speak something, feel something negative every single hour of our lives. Even while we are sleeping, because in our dreams, these negative keywords, whether they manifest into feelings or words or thoughts, are there every hour of our lives. But we have to do more than just know the negative words that we are using. We have to be able to change it. Change every single negative word that you use and use a positive one. Words like joy, serenity, pleasant, pride, awe, laughter, love, happy, safe, yes. Every single time you hear a negative word, replace it with a positive one. Every time you go to speak a negative word, think about it and replace it with a positive one. Every single time you see something negative, replace that with a positive memory. Surround it with full of these positive thoughts, these positive words. See, we can start changing our negative bias. We can start changing the way that our brain receives this negativity by adding these positive words into our vocab every single day. Even in our feelings, in our thoughts, and making sure that we are being aware of what we are listening to, what people are saying. And when you pick up on that negative word, replace it with the positive one. It's not easy. It is work, ladies and gentlemen. It is difficult. It takes focus, drive, determination. But it's worth it, because once you have replaced all of this negative thoughts and feelings and energy and words with the positive ones, after a while, you won't have to think about it. Your brain will automatically convert it itself. And the first way that we can start doing this is stop saying, I have a problem. See, in my world, there are no problems, only solutions. So start saying, I need a solution. Here's the situation. See, I challenge people to put that on Facebook, right? Most of the time, you see all these people say, I have a problem. My day was so terrible. And what you get are lots of people commenting saying, I'm so sorry. I wish I could be there. If you need me, I'm here for you. I'll pray for you. I'm sorry you went through this. I have an ear to listen to. Those are all fine, great, and dandy, but at the end of the day, you still have a problem. But if you challenge yourself and change that and say, I need a solution. Here's the situation. Guess what you're going to get? For every one person that says, I'm sorry you're going through this, you will get 9 or 10 others posting possible, viable solutions to what you thought was a problem. And now suddenly you have all of these opportunities, these possibilities these solutions for you to overcome your situation. You can try every single one of them if you'd like, because now you have some viable answers, some possible solutions. You're not just stuck with a problem anymore. In more ways, for you to be able to rewire your brain and change your mindset and overcome the negativity of adversity is to create these 5 things. Things like an environment. Think about everything that surrounds you. See, most of the time, our environments are filled with the things that remind us of the things that we can't do anymore, the things that we still have to do, the things that overwhelm us, that overcome us, instead of the things that make us feel good, make us feel safe, make us dream again. And sometimes it's difficult to look around your environment in places like at work. And so I encourage you to bring things, to create something, to go to a place that you can create an environment that can change you. And the people that we surround ourselves with, often these are the negative people, the people that suck the life out of you, that no matter what, their life is not going in a good direction, that even when they really try, everything goes wrong, that's just their life, they just have the bad luck. Or the people who do not believe that you can overcome. They don't encourage you to live. They don't encourage you to fight. The people who don't really have your back. As sad as it is, sometimes those are your best friends. Those are family members. I know all too well all about that. When I was faced with cancer and given those 2 months to live, my life had to change. But as I was fighting every single day, those friends that I thought had my back were no longer there. They didn't give me a call. They didn't send me text messages. They didn't encourage me to fight. They didn't encourage me to live. They had to go about their life. And so in the beginning, the first few days is all, oh, I'm so sorry. And the next week goes by and it's less, and then it's less, and then it's less, and then it's less. Because they forget that you have to fight every single day. Because they don't. Or maybe they don't want to. These are the people that you're surrounding yourselves with. And I'm not saying get them out of your lives, but do what I did and surround yourself with people who lift you up, who build you, who believe in you, who want you to fight the fight and win, who want you to continue every single day and live your life to the fullest, not like you're sick, not like you're having financial problems, not like you have this adversity in your life. You should also start focusing on the songs that you listen to. Did you ever notice that people who are sad or down and depressed, they listen to depressing songs which just make them worse instead of better? Instead, choose a song. Listen to the lyrics. Forget about the beat. Make sure that it touches you to your core. It moves your soul, that it can uplift you, that when you listen to this, you smile. You feel empowered. The same goes for TV and movies that we watch. See, most people think that these don't affect us. But think about this. Before you go to bed at night, if you're watching TV and it's full of blood, guts, and glory, guess what you're going to dream about? That good night's sleep that you once needed or thought you were going to have no longer exists because it is haunted by the blood, guts, and glory that you saw on TV. And typically when you wake up in the morning, that's what you're thinking about. You think about those bad dreams and ultimately that show or movie that you watched before you went to sleep. But if you go to bed and watch a good show, a positive vibe type of movie before you fall asleep, guess what happens? Nothing. You sleep well. You wake up feeling rested and you never think again about that TV show or that movie that you watched before you went to bed. See, your TVs, your movies, they affect you. Often when we're faced with adversities, especially when it comes to health adversities, we'll watch a movie or a TV show, and on it people are dying from terminal illnesses, and kids are left homeless, and they're left without parents, or spouses having a hard time going through the death of their other spouse. And then we start living it, and we start thinking, oh no, what if that's me? What if that's my kids? What if that's my husband? The songs that we listen to, the TV, the movies that we watch, they affect us. And another thing that we need to focus on are the places that we're visiting. Think about every place that you go, where you go and you have a coffee, where you go to the movies, places you hang out with your friends. Are they positive places? Do they lift you up? Do they make you feel good? Do they make you smile? Or are they filled with negative sayings on the walls? Are they filled with things like graffiti? Do you hear all those negative words? Are the people in those places negative? Start going to the places that are positive. Rewire your brain. And you can start today by doing these two things. The two things that I do. The first is find a song. A song that speaks to you. See, I have my song. No, I didn't sing it. But yes, I do consider it my song. It empowers me. It makes me feel good. Forget about if it's at the top of the charts, or what kind of beat it has, or if it's popular. Listen to the lyrics. Do they move you? Do they touch your soul? And take that song and put it as number 1 on your playlist. Set it as your ringtone. And better yet, set it as your alarm in the morning. So that's what you're waking up to. And the second thing is find a quote. A quote that explains and defines who you are, how you live, and how you will overcome. Something that is meaningful. And take that quote and tape it to your mirror so that every morning and every night you're reading it. And tape it to your sun visor in your car so when you are getting in or out, you're looking at it. Take that quote and set it as a reminder on your phone 2 to 3 times a day. So randomly, you'll get that notification, and when you look at it, it's your quote. You'll be surprised how many times that quote just appears when you need it most. But find your hero within, and you can overcome anything. You can achieve anything. You can fulfill any dream. See, my hero within is always with me. It's what gets me through my everyday. It lifts me up. It empowers me and enables me to fight. See, my hero within was there when I was in a car accident, bedridden for several months and unable to work for years. I became addicted to prescription pills. But she gave me the courage and the strength to overcome. My hero within was there for our entire family as we stood there completely homeless after having the largest house fire in our area, left with nothing. All of our mementos, every picture that we had of our children, everything that we owned, gone. My hero within literally carried me from the door to the casket of my best friend, while everyone stared at me, blaming me for her suicide. My hero within was stronger than ever. When my 4-year-old was diagnosed with a failing kidney, I was 7 months pregnant, and 2 weeks after her diagnosis, I was diagnosed with cancer. And at some point, given 2 months to live, 60 more tomorrows. And my daughter was told that she's losing her battle and had to have surgery. But see, she prevailed. She helped us get through it, and not just get through it well, but overcome. Because my daughter is perfectly fine today, and I'm over 5 years cancer-free. But my hero within has been with me every single day for the past 3.5 years, as I have battled and fought with this very rare illness and this brain tumor and a minimum of 14 symptoms every single day. But see, every single day I get up, I open my eyes, I take a breath and I say thank you. Because I have my hero within. Because I don't think about the negative things. I don't focus on the symptoms. I focus on the symptoms of what I'm able to do. The good things. Those things that I can overcome. I focus on smiling. I focus on hugging my kids. On loving my husband. On being me. On being a friend. What are you focusing on? Find your hero within and your focus will become clear. But understand that your hero within doesn't get a reward. It pays the price. And many people say to me, that's great, Tiffany. That's exactly what I want. Help me find my hero within. But how do I know when I have it? How do I know that it's strong? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's that moment when your mind and body beg you to give up, but your soul calls back, never. That is the moment that you have your hero within. That is the moment that you will overcome. That is the moment that you have rewired your brain. You have overcome that negativity bias. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time today. It has been an absolute pleasure sharing with you today on how to overcome the negativity bias, how to rewire your brain, how to find your hero within, and to go from powerless to powerful. You can follow me or contact me at theherowithin.me. Have a great day.
Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with more exciting insights, strategies, and tools to elevate your life.